Right. I thought I'd go over how much does it actually cost to publish one book. So, free for all here, March 10th, 2026, coming out so in 3 days time. So we haven't fully finished the publishing process, but it's a good way of understanding how much does a book cost to publish from start to finish. And I'm going to go over all the costs that we get from the publishing house that we have to incur. I think this is a good video to go over and a good idea to go over, because I think people just think poof, it magically is published, and publishing itself actually costs quite a lot of money, and there are so many costs that people just overlook. Some of them are one-time costs, some of them are recurring costs. So yeah, even though as a publishing house we do a lot of different things, we're only looking at, for this video, how much does it cost during the publishing process for one book. So there may be things as a publishing house that we do that go across multiple books or multiple things, or we're only looking at really today the publishing of one book. And a lot of what I've talked about today will be involved with free-for-all, just because it's clear in my mind, but it is very dependent, I will say, on how big the book is, if we're looking at physical copies, because that does change the pricing, of course, and also what was I going to say, shipping costs, where we're shipping to, so those costs will be taken into account. But let's start off at the beginning. So we've got the idea, we're working with the author, looking at the contract, and I won't go into contracts with authors specifically and what's included. For us, we do 50% profit, net profit, of every book sale, and every digital book sale, straight to the author. So we have one of the most competitive, and I would say one of the friendliest contracts for authors. Again, in the agreements it does say that we can branch off into other avenues with the book and stories, but again, that would then have to involve another contract, but it's just in place that we can have an agreement to go into those different revenue streams, sorry, with the story and the book, but we won't talk about that now. The reason why I talk about it is the first cost is actually the first commission cost, and what's that mean? So we pay a small fee, really small fee, from our side, because again, the net profits from each book sale is very high compared to publishing standards. So we pay a small fee to each author, just to say that they've released the book to us and we can start the publishing process. So again, the fee for us is 20 quid that we pay out as a commission fee, and it's more of just like just to say, like, welcome to the publishing company, welcome to Drylam Publishing, per se. Again, we are a small publishing house, so we can't offer huge fees, but we make up for that with our royalty structure, which I already expressed. But yeah, so that would be the first cost, so minus 20. Throughout the editing process, author will either self-edit, that's the first edit we go through, so obviously no cost there, and then second edit we go to an editor. Editors, it depends how much actually needs to be edited for the book, but we're looking at, again, with the editors we use, it's between 30 to 50 pounds per manuscript, which I actually think is a really good deal from them, so we're not too upset about that. But yeah, the reason why we use a real editor is because, again, for our publishing house, we're quite against AI in the story structure, per se, in the book structure, and the cover structure and the illustration structure. So we want to keep the creative side without AI. So yeah, again, you could probably less minus 50 to be on the safe side. So already we're down £70. And yeah, that's just the editing and revisions section we're up to. So now let's move into the illustration. Illustration's big, as I've said in previous videos. Big hook for the book, a way to get the imagination going, and a way to showcase what the book's about. Illustrations, again, it becomes a little bit more difficult because you sort of have to have a royalty structure. It's very dependent on the illustrator. They'll either do it, so one of our illustrators does it for a one-time commission fee, and that commission fee could go all the way up to £200, and we've had as low as 100. So it is quite a big gap. It's very dependent on the story, and yeah. So again, it could either be a £200 minus, or you could be looking at a smaller fee, so 50 to 80 quid, but the royalties are then pushed into the structure, so that takes away from each book sale. For us, we like to do it as a one-time fee. So yeah, for the past two, we've done it as a one-time fee, and that's because it then starts to eat into the royalties that go to the author, that go to us, that that we then reinvest back into the company. So for that, I'm going to put a minus 200 on that. So now we've gone through the illustration, we're into the printing process. Again, if this was just digital, would be pretty set. You just put it on Amazon and that's it. But for paperbacks and hardback covers and copies, sorry, you then have to go through printing. Printing, I can say a lot about printing companies. It eats a lot more than what you think. Unless you have a special deal with the printing service, per copy, you have to print a certain amount for it to justify a lower price. So this is where they get the catch-22 out. If you order less copies, you have to pay more per copy. So this is where it becomes difficult for us. In our most recent run of 10 for free-for-all, so our first batch of copies, it cost us, with shipping included, 113 quid. So you can minus that from the structure as well. From the fees as well. So yeah, when you start to add that up, again, we've only ordered 10 because we order by the sale amount. Otherwise we would be sat with 100 copies, and then needing to push that out, whereas now we can just order and then ready to go. So yeah, it does become pretty difficult in that regard, because the printing you're at the mercy of the printers, unless you print, you have your own printing in-house. Something I really want to look to get in the future, but for now, this is what's in the cost. So yeah, minus 113. We're going based off the example for free-for-all. Now we get into the events, marketing, advertising, pre-release, all the organizational stuff as well for the book that you need. And I'll start with the organizational stuff. So first of all, for free-for-all, and for all published books, you need to have an ISBN. So an ISBN is essentially an international barcode, it is an international barcode, I don't know why I said all, that can be used worldwide, so that people know that this book is for this publisher, and it is on a Nielsen database, the Nielsen database, which is for all books, especially in the UK. So that, for a one-time ISBN, is 93 quid for 10 ISBNs, barcodes. And when I say one ISBN, that means, so for example, Free For All would have one ISBN and that is it. That is the ISBN for this book. Same as Sugar and Scars, another one of our books, Overthinking, they would each have their own ISBN. So you can get a batch of 10 for 175 quid or 93. So far, we've gone with just one because we have a slower in terms of getting authors on board, but also then going through the publishing process. So it would, actually, yeah, thinking about it, I should just go for the 10. But for Free For All, for Sugar and Scars, for Overthinking, we've got 93 quid, so for one ISBN. So again, for Free For All, if we're going by this example, you can minus another 93 quid off that. Gosh, I don't even know what we're up to now. Yeah, so from an organizational point of view, that's about the main one that you kind of need to get per book that you publish. And then yeah, let's start off with events. So events, in-person events, obviously you have to reach out, and then most venues, you're looking at a structure of say 20% in terms of how much is made from that event. I've been very lucky in the venues I've been in. We've had other workarounds, so again, for our writers workshop, we have a different structure with the venues work with, and yeah, so we've been very lucky in that regard. But they may also ask for discounts when they order books into bookstores, if it is bookstores, and we also have that. So I wouldn't actually be able to give you a specific number because it's very dependent on the book event. But yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. Going into, say, advertising, this is a big one because you have to pour money into actually promoting. Social media for us is a massive venue, and online is a massive outlet, because we do in person and we also do, of course, marketing online. So for Free For All, up until today, you're looking at close to 400, I'd say £400 from when we started till now, and we're not even finished yet. When I talk in this video, I'm going to go up until the release of the book, otherwise you'll be looking at fees, more and more down the line. So yeah, up until now, and it's been a month and a half since we've started our pre-release, you're looking at 400 quid, so you can minus that off the total as well. So yeah, that adds up a lot, a huge amount into the publishing. And then in-person marketing, so posters, flyers, business cards, I'd even put in merchandise into that. For Free For All, we haven't done merchandise yet. We're looking at doing that further down the line. For Sugar and Scars, we did merchandise. The merchandise we did for that, we did bookmarks, flyers, posters. We did magnets, and stickers. All of that, from what I remember, added up to £120. So you can take that off. Now, that does include 20 magnets, 50 stickers, business cards. We had 100 as well on top of that, which we did during the Sugar and Scars promotional, and yeah, so 120 was around the mark. And then we get into, say, back into our online side of marketing and social media. So we've got advertising. Another outlet we use is influencers. So for Free For All, we've been really lucky that every influencer we've worked with has been for free and is doing it for free so far. So we've been really lucky, and we're so thankful for that, because I don't think they understand how much of a boost that is for the author, for us, and yeah, we can't thank them enough. So we sent off books for them to review today, actually, so for a couple of them. So for this part, I'm actually going to use the Sugar and Scars. We had 9 influencers, and the influencers, so only one of them did it for free. The rest, it was between, the lowest was 9 quid and the highest was 75 quid from what I remember. So if I do my maths right, I'm trying to remember the costs. 20, so we had 9, then we had 4 between 20 to 30 quid. Yeah, so 4 of them were for 30, and then I think the rest was 50 to 75 was the most. So I'll do the maths, and you'll see it on screen now. But yeah, you can minus that whole total to our period now as it is, and then we get to the shipping itself of the paperback book. So once we get to the release date, we've got pre-orders. So for Free For All, I'm going based off pre-orders. Shipping internationally from the UK is a nightmare, especially for books. So for each one we ship, it costs us 13.65 quid. I don't know why I said it like that, but yeah, for each book it's that amount, internationally, and that's worldwide. So luckily that's the most we'll pay for how much the book weighs, for the envelope it's in. Yeah, those are the costs. So actually the amount we sell at, we actually lose money on it, but it's something that it's a calculation we're okay to make. But yeah, so to ship worldwide, 13 quid. Locally, it's around 4 quid in the UK. So we break even there, unless you take away, of course, the costs we've already talked about. But if you look at just shipping, yeah, we break even for the UK. So yeah, so far we have had 5 pre-orders, and then we are sending out 5 more for the reviewers. So again, the 5 we've had, 1 is UK, 4 is international, so 4 times 13.65, and then add on, of course, the 1 which is local, and then we've got 5 more which is international shipping as well. So yeah, add on another 5 times 13.65, which I'll do the maths now. But yeah, in terms of the release for Free For All, that's where I'm gonna stop the costs. The costs go way more, because again, when you get to just a release of a book, you're only looking at the pre-release of a book. So you're not actually looking at the costs after to continue the marketing, ongoing marketing, merchandise, events, more printing, more bulk prints as well for certain bookstores, whatnot. You're looking at, the total is kind of crazy, but if I was to do it in my head going forwards, you're looking at close to £3,000, maybe more, which is industry standard in terms of if you want to publish a book and all the costs that go into it, and if you also look at the ongoing costs as well. It's a lot of money to put into a book, and so yeah, if you look at publishing, if you're trying to do it for money, don't. For a book, in terms of like, if you want to publish solely for money, sorry, I should have said like that, don't, because it takes a long time, and it also involves, you know, the community you build up, the people that trust, you know, us, Drylam Publishing, you know, they trust us that they're going to get the product on time, that they're going to get a good product, that the story's going to be amazing, that the author themselves are also going to benefit massively. That's what they get with Drylam Publishing, from a reader side. So yeah, from a writer side, we also have other stuff for them. But yeah, I mean, for us, you know, you see the total now, how much it costs. It is a bit misleading because some of it is from Sugar and Scars, some of it is from Free For All, but it's the closest I can get to the cost for us average per book to get the book out there, published. But yeah, again, if we were to continue going down the costs, it will only get more and more expensive. So from a publishing house perspective, you know, sometimes it is a bit like, it does feel like people do not understand how much money goes into it, and there is a lot of demand and a lot of, but you know, that's for me to try and explain, like, actually we've got to, you know, we've got to factor in this, we've got to factor in this, we've got to factor in this. And yeah, again, for example, like the shipping costs and whatnot, when you look at it, we've only counted it in for 10 books max. So imagine if you times it by another 10, and then, you know, you times it by another 10, and, you know, the more and more books you sell. So, you know, we have to factor that in as well. But yeah, let me know if you're shocked by the results, if if you've learned something new, maybe. I hope you have, because yeah, it would be very interesting to hear from you all. But yeah, I will leave all the links to support us down below. If you want to check us out, I'll leave the links as well down below. If you want to buy Free For All, upcoming release March 10th by Said Saim Ali, a dystopian thriller, you can also buy it with the link down below. But yeah, until next time, peace.